Who should you be mad at right now? Who should you be mad at? The fact that we don't have a resolve for what's occurring. Who you should be mad at is Congress. And not even this Congress. Every single Congress since the ratification of our Constitution, because they have ignored what? Actually clarifying the United States Constitution, actually completing the United States Constitution. Why? I told you, it's like a situationship. If you don't really make it official, then if you sleep with someone else, it's not technically cheating. And the thing is that Congress creates this legislation. So the ones who have failed us is Congress. And yes, you can point at individuals who have been wanting to make a difference. But as a collective, both the Republican Party, who won, sabotages the Constitution because historically speaking, it's believed that the Constitution has been much more progressive. It doesn't like progressive. It wants to return to the Articles of Confederation. That's why its Convention of States includes what? Limiting the federal government. That is the Articles of Confederation. When it comes to Democrats, they romanticize decorum. Like, oh, we're going to compromise with the Republicans. We're going to put them in my administration. And as a result, Republicans just leverage litigation in order to pass all these backwards policies, and then Democrats are like, you got us on that litigation. But instead of challenging that litigation with much more leveraging of those blind spots, they're just like, okay, we'll just focus on the next thing. But then, as a result, they sacrifice what? Roe versus Wade. They sacrifice what? The Equal Rights Amendment. They sacrifice all of these things because they're focused on what? Re-election. They're focused on what? Fundraising for the Democratic Party. As a result, since they failed us, I'm no longer a Democrat. And I don't mean that I'm not going to vote Democrat. I'm going to vote Democrat local because I'm not reckless. I'm not, However, you don't need to be a Democrat member in order to vote for a Democrat. And I don't feel that the party has respected me as a voter. I don't believe that the party has deserved me as a voter because it refuses to grow a backbone. It refuses to actually uphold public service. And until it does that, I don't see it as restoring the confidence that it has lost, especially now. So if you want to know who to blame when it comes to this election, blame Congress. Because what's our problem? The problem is that the Constitution does not actually have the mechanisms to solve this problem. There's an illegitimate president. What do? The Constitution doesn't really help because there's a lot of ambiguity that the courts, leverage, that the Congress leverages to not do anything. So who forces them? The courts? Congress can force them, but who forces Congress? The courts can say something about it, but it's the people who puts in Congress, but the people are not a branch in government because we're not in the Constitution as a branch. So who really checks on Congress? No one. No one checks on Congress. And as a result, I need you to rage. I need you to understand that when we survive this, what we need is one, elimination of corporate personhood at the root. That is through the Constitution. Article 5, the second method for the amendment clause. That is through the delegates. 2, we need judicial reform. Particularly, we need to eliminate judicial immunity. And I don't care if Congress doesn't want to do that. We need to do that through Article 5. And then 3, this is very much an unprecedented move. However, we need to codify the role of we the people, at the bare minimum, a silent branch in the Constitution so that we can actually have constitutional authority to check Congress. Because it's not working. It's not working. And as a result, we are in a constitutional crisis because we don't know what's occurring. We don't know what's there to resolve. We don't know what's gonna be resolved. We don't know what's happening because there's no actual solution in our Constitution. And who do we depend on for that? Courts, but also Congress. Can we depend on them? No. So in this reality, what do we have? The military. The military, and a good amount of them voted for, King Mango, but they took an oath to defend the Constitution. So now we're in this very much uncertain reality. The United States is in an uncertain reality. And as a result, the only reality and where we can restore it without actually using unprecedented channels is a split of the nation. Like I said, if we're going to be under King Mango, then at the bare minimum, either the branches should restore the Constitution through the removal of an illegitimate president, or 2, ask every single state to rejoin the union because it's a different constitution. And this is what our demand should be. This is what we should be focused on. If there is no resolve by the end of this month, January, then we should be pissed.